This is the Vigilante Video Game Review, and I am James Harley, the Vigilante. I'd like to talk to you about Fable 2. I played Fable 1, big fan, Fable 1, played it twice, and thought I would do the same thing with Fable 2. And I've played it one time all the way through, started to play it again, but then Fallout 3 came around, and I had to switch over to that, because that's a damn good game too, but we'll talk about that later. But for Fable, definitely an excellent game. Excellent game. The gameplay, very solid. The core mechanics, fighting, the world, the setting, top notch. It even has like references back to Fable 1, so if you've played Fable 1, you'll recognize certain locations. It's definitely cool. But there are some problems with the game, and they're not so much design, some are design issues, but a lot of them are bugs, just QA and interface design, which are really, really two important things into the enjoyment of a game. It's one of those psychological kind of things, kind of low level. It's hard to really point out these kind of things, when you're doing game testing and that kind of thing. But it's a very important thing. And this game has got two big problems. One, bugginess. There's lots of features that they try to put in, it looks like, that didn't get completely implemented correctly all the time. Like, as an example, the interface has a lot of just bugs where things are telling you that there's something new, and you go to the interface, you go down, you can't find anything new, and it never goes away. It doesn't clear out. Those kind of things. You have these things called trophies that you're supposed to be able to put up in your house. I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. Maybe there's a way, but it's very hidden if there is. Sex is an important thing. You're supposed to have children. It's part of the story, and you don't have to, but it is part of the kind of mechanic. And so trying to have sex with your wife or with other people or whatever is an important gameplay mechanic and story-driven kind of element of the game. But sometimes it's very difficult, They say, yes, I want to have sex, and you say, okay, I want to have sex, thumb up, let's have sex, but they don't follow you, they don't do it. A lot of kind of problematic things like that. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't, it's not clear. Sometimes they want sex. I had a woman, when my virtual wife leave me because she wasn't getting enough sex, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. The game made me impotent. It was very frustrating. Some of the quests are unclear. It's not exactly, you're not really sure what you're supposed to do exactly. You gotta kind of bumble around and try to figure out like, what am I supposed to do? And oh, this is what I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to do this, and that's kind of a bummer. It's really good when quests are clear. You can at least know you're supposed to search and find something rather than just like, well, what am I supposed to do next? Not sure. There's a lot of problems with the interface. And they're not necessarily bugs, they're just clunkiness. This is design. A lot of times when designers are working on a game, they get very used to the interface. So they don't really see how clunky it is, and they maybe design it with kind of like a small, maybe numbers in mind, and when you're playing it and kind of first testing it out, it seems good. But then when you start putting a lot more like information into the interface, a lot more choices, a lot more selections, then the interface becomes quite clunky. And that seems to be what has happened here. The interface is, I find, very clunky. And it hurts the enjoyment of the game. Like, as an example, they give you this 20-page diary you're supposed to take a look at. So what happens is you click on the diary page and it has a little 15-second like audio clip about what's going on in the diary. Okay, good. But it's 20 individual pages. They're 20 individual items, not one book that you look at, 20 of them. And what you have to do is you have to click about 6 times and do several scrollings, through large lists to get down to the level to actually select the page. You select the page, it drops you back into the game, 15 seconds of audio, and then you have to do the whole process over again to get to page number 2. You're supposed to repeat this 20 times to get through the whole book. I got to page 4 before I said, it's not worth it. Forget it. So those are the kind of things that are just like, obviously design, obviously things that could have been improved quite easily. I mean, the game is polished very well in certain areas, but they just like, to rush to get it out, they didn't really like take these kind of small polishy kind of things into consideration. It really hurts the game because I wanted to play it twice. I started playing it again, but I kind of lost my desire to do it because of the interface and some of the bugs, but mostly the interface. Once I played it one time through, I kind of learned the bugs so I could kind of get around those. So they weren't as much of a difficulty, I think, the second time through, but knowing that I'm going to have to be dealing with this interface and how clunky it is and that kind of thing, just not a good situation. So, Fable 2, big fan, recommend buying it, but it's just one of those games that it could have been like a 90 type game, it could have been 90, 95 kind of rated game, but it's getting like 87, high 80s, and I think that's, true, it could have done that, but just with a little bit of effort more, It could have been a 90. Still worth buying. Check it out. James Farley, Vigilante Center, Vigilante out.